Welcome to the First and Goal podcast. You have now entered the set with Coach Blocker, the number one source for player development both on and off the field. Tune in this Thursday where we will be going live on Facebook and on YouTube.
Your body, that's easy. We train your mind.
Special guest this week is Coach Adrian Jones, representing the U, Shaw University. Crosstown rival from St. Augustine University, Coach David Bowser will be joining the show. Raleigh's inner city rivals, the Shaw Bears and the St. Augustine Falcons, coming together to discuss recruiting, college acceptance, and the HBCU experience on Thursday. I'm Coach Block, and this is the First and Goal podcast. I'll see you at the set. So what's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back. We're on our next episode of the First and Goal podcast. This is something that I really am excited to do. This was one of the podcasts that I knew I had to get in early because these are busy men, and it's perfect timing because National Signing Day has passed, and I see on social media so many young men freaking out because they haven't signed. So I went out and got college coaches who this is what they do. And hopefully the information that you guys will get today, it will help you out to calm down a little bit, but also know that, you need to continue to work. We got some things that will be announced later on in the show. Last time we did this, we had a sponsor by iCryo, and there was a VIP pass for their opening tomorrow. That will be, tomorrow. So we got the VIP pass for you. I will announce the winners for that, and you can definitely hit me up. Now, for all those who are watching, please share, please like. Please share, please like. Now, those who share and like, the most people, when we see the views and all that stuff, I can tell who shared and who liked. Please go ahead and share and like. I got something special for those people who have done that or even have a watch party, because we also have another giveaway from Top Notch Massage. I didn't forget about that. We've got to give away the Top Notch Massage as well. All right. So without any further ado, we're going to get into this. But first, as our new format goes, we got 4 downs, right? So for first down, I would like to talk about our sponsor, iCryo. So first down, roll it.
First Down brought to you by iCryo. Elevate your life.
iCryo is a cryotherapy spot that is partnering with us, where you can go and get that ice treatment and body sculpting, sit in their sauna where they don't use the hot rocks. They use lasers inside of there. So I don't know. That's going to be all crazy. We're going to go live from there on Saturday, and you'll get a chance to see it. So I would like to introduce our guest today. Once again, we have Coach David Bowser, head coach of St. Augustine University, and we have Coach Adrian Jones from Shaw U. How you guys doing today?
Good. How you doing, bro?
Having me on.
Oh,
Yes,
no problem,
sir.
no problem. We had to do it. Last time we had Coach Bowser, and I didn't have you, Coach Jones, so I felt bad about that. So I had to get you on here so we can go back and forth. Now I know you're not as wordy as Coach, so we ain't gonna let him bogart all the time whenever I ask these questions, because Coach Bowser will take all the time on you, boys. So,
hey, I'm on the come up, baby. He already there. I'm trying to get there. Come on now.
All right. Hey, so look, we're gonna jump right into this, man. So my first question is for us. It's a simple question because we understand kind of how the recruiting game goes. But for the parents and for the students that are watching, and they are freaking out because National Signing Day went past and some people haven't signed. or they haven't heard from schools and they just bugging out. So is recruiting over after National Signing Day? And I'll start with, since Coach Jones, since you're the new guy on the show, we'll start with you, Coach Jones. Is recruiting over after National Signing Day?
Well, I can say for Division II football, recruiting is never over.
Okay.
We recruited all the way up. I recruited all the way up until the first week of practice for us in August. You know, we hit some needs, but at the end of the day, when you don't finish getting those guys that you want, a lot of guys that think they're going D1, and it's the reality starts coming back to them, then we'll go out and recruit those guys. But recruiting for Division II football, whether it's HBCU or PWI, we're always trying to find that diamond in the rough. So I would say recruiting is never over for us.
Got you. Coach Bowser, what you saying, man?
It's the same philosophy, because at Division II, the best thing about it is, you know, we divide up our resources. So even when signing day hits and you hit a certain number of people, you still have enough to get to your equivalencies that throughout the year you're going to keep recruiting. I tell people all the time in Division II, spring ball is funny because you'll go through with 22 guys and you think that's your 11 on each side of the ball. And then all of a sudden something falls in your lap in the summertime. Hey, that thing gets shaken up. So no, recruiting is far from over. Far from over. Far from over.
So then how do you guys manage the board? So even for guys hearing that, you know, a lot of freshmen don't understand that recruiting continues. They think once they sitting inside of they dorm rooms and come to practice that the world has begun and ended with them. You know what I mean? Because you guys recruited them there. So if you can, I always like to discuss with parents and players about your board and making sure it's full. So what avenues do you guys look at first? And, you know, if are there certain holes that you guys are looking even fill in right now?
Well, I'll start with that one and just say this. I based what I was looking for this year off of the fact that I was excited when I got here with the guys that were already in the program that were committed to getting better. So I consider them to be like the mortar that's going to bring the bricks together. And then we had last year's class, so we went with more as far as numbers because we needed to get the squad a little bit bigger. This year it's mainly been what specific needs did I have early, and we focused on that. And if somebody caught your eye, you know, you would really check them out and vet them and see if you could go any further. But when you're in this phase now, you want to get your immediate needs going into signing day. And then the rest of it is you might take the best player on the board. I mean, if you see a kid that needs to be in your program, you're not going to pass on him because you might wind up playing against him. So you want to get him in the fold. Got
you. Coach Jones, how about yourself?
Well, I'm gonna talk about the number game. So pretty much, as a staff, we go in and we talk about our needs. So I'm gonna talk about offensive linemen. Offensive line is always a need in Division II football, and what we do is we start with a list of 20 guys. And those 20 guys, a 1 is a guy that we're gonna jump on right now. A 2 is a guy that we'll also love up. Them 3s and 4s and those 5s are the backups, but that top 20 is usually 1s, 2s, and possibly 3s. We actually got 2 guys that we really wanted. We lost 2 guys that we really wanted. So we're going back to the drawing board, looking at that list, and then adding some guys on to that list. So at the end of the day, we like to kind of rate our guys and know where we at. Our situation is a little bit different. I've been at Shaw for a while, so, you know, the pandemic actually helped us. You know, we got guys like Devin Hunt that is still there, but we did recruit some linebackers in the 2020 class. So the 2021 class is more or less offensive linemen, defensive ends, and kickers, and we will get a quarterback. But our list is a little bit smaller, but we do plan in the future. So we got to make sure that when we come back next year, 2022 class, that we hit our needs and make sure that we're getting a bang for our buck.
Got you. So then my question now is for you guys, you know, this will be big that they can hear from your mouth. Should the seniors be panicking right now if they have not signed with a school?
Absolutely not. Like I said, we're always recruiting. What I would say is that don't sit back and think that the coach is going to find you. You have to have some kind of want to. And it's nothing wrong with sending an email to a coach. One thing about me, I try to watch every piece of film that I get in my email. I might not watch it a lot of it, but I've been doing this a long time. And if it strikes my eye, I'm gonna go ahead and look at you and recruit you. If you're a possible PWI, a preferred walk-on, I'm gonna let you know. We're looking for some preferred walk-ons. That preferred walk-on means that you come in with those scholarship guys, and we're gonna treat you the same way, and you have a chance to earn money. So I would say, especially with spring ball coming out this year, that we did a lot of work outside of the state of North Carolina and recruited in Georgia and Alabama where those guys were playing. We didn't get as much as we want to, so now we can focus on North Carolina and go to these games in North Carolina and find those guys. But they have to actually put some work in. Don't always count on your coach to help you, because your coach got to help those other 60 or 70 players. You got to show some initiative and get out there and sell yourself too.
Absolutely. What about you?
And I agree with Coach Jones, because I'll tell everybody all the time, I'm a North Carolina recruiting guy, but this year, half the guys that I signed were from either Georgia or South Carolina because of the fact that they did play ball. I agree with Coach 100%. And when I was looking at offensive linemen, the big thing I was telling our guys was on the O-line, South Carolina and Georgia was the answer for right now because they played, and I was not sure if North Carolina kids were going to be able to play. And it's hard to evaluate a lineman based on their junior film because you don't know if the kid leaned up, if he got a little meaner. So, we went out of state looking at the linemen, and a great need that we had was at quarterback. We went out of state, because, it was like, so Coach is absolutely right, man. If people were playing, you looked at them. But what I feel comfortable with now is my focus is on North Carolina, because now these kids are practicing. We know they're going to get a chance to play. So what these kids got to do is I agree with Coach 100%, man, just get out there and play and do what you got to do. And in the meantime, put yourself out there, because 2 of the 3 kids that we got early, they sent us the film and looked at them. It was like, wow, how they available? But it was out-of-state kids that were just sending their film out because they didn't know what was going to happen. So sometimes you got to push yourself a little bit too, and don't close your mind to where your options are. Because as we talked back in November, D3, D2, we got the money right now. The D1 schools, they were locked in on a set fixture. Us, we got room to wiggle. So be receptive to the opportunities, what you got to do.
Absolutely. Good. So now I got Coach Campbell. He made a comment already. Come on down the road to Southeast Raleigh. Come check him out. He done got some guys. So, he already putting his plug in. I ain't mad at it, Coach. But my last piece before we go into my next set of questions is getting film and acquiring film. A lot of people think that it just sits on your lap, and you guys both said you watch film. But do you prefer to get the film from the family or from like an outside source? Because right now these guys having 1 million trainers is the thing right now. So how do you prefer to receive film from a potential recruit?
I'll go with Coach first.
All right. That's funny you asked that. If it comes from one of these companies and stuff, I'm probably not going to look at it. It's more if that kid or that family member send it. Reason being is they blow up your emails, and they send you people that that I don't want to recruit in California and Texas. So these guys are just throwing these names out, not doing their research at the end of the day. And it's more personable when you got that kid or that family member sending it, or that coach, and that strikes my eye, because just in North Carolina, I know all the coaches in North Carolina. I'd much rather for that coach from North Carolina or that kid to send it, because then when I look at my email, I'm saying, okay, hey, coach from Southeast Raleigh sent me some film. I'm gonna check it out. But when you got these guys that they're paying these guys to push their film out, 9 times out of 10, that's probably gonna be the last short source that I look at.
Yeah, I'm with Coach 100%, man, because when you go to those services, I feel like in this day with technology, the parents and the kids need to understand that just like that person sent me the email, you could have done the same thing, because it's not like they have that relationship like Coach Jones is talking about, because we've both been in North Carolina long enough that we're comfortable enough to walk in somebody's high school. We're going to be at the conventions. We'll be at the clinics. So we're going to talk to those coaches and get a feed on who their kids are and what you're dealing with. But when you get it from a recruiting service, I'm weary of that because, like he said, Texas, California, there's a whole lot of schools between the state of Texas and coming here to Raleigh, North Carolina on a Division II level. So I'm always going to go safe with the person that I know I have a relationship with, and that if they say this kid is solid, then I feel comfortable with going with. So I agree with Coach 100% on that, man. Those services, and I'm not trying to knock what people do, but I'm just being honest. That's the last film I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna go by what that high school sends me, or what maybe even if the kid sends their huddle film.
Right.
And if you drop me an email, we're gonna Google you anyway and hit huddle. So I mean, they don't even have to use a service. Technology's changed all of that.
And I am going to replay this over and over again just for that, because when I was sitting in the seat that you guys sat in, and then also in my head coaching seat, I used to tell these parents, please stop spending all this money on, I won't say the company's name because like you said, I ain't going to hate on how another person makes their money, but it's a lot more personable when I see you send me film versus some guy that has absolutely no idea what's going on in Raleigh, North Carolina, and he's sitting somewhere else floating out film just because that's a mass email for himself.
There you go.
I just want to I'm glad that we touched on that because that's a big piece.
One more thing. Also, what I look at, I'm a stickler with whenever you send a film out, don't send your film to me, St. Aug, Miles, all that at the same time. Individuals send that film to Shaw University. Individuals send that film to St. Aug.
There you go.
I hate to see all those schools that you're looking at, because I'm saying now I'm competing, but if you send it individually, it means a little bit more that you're.
There you go.
Just like if I'm sending out my resume, I'm not going to send my resume out to 100 different daggone schools for a job. I'm going to send it individually to that job.
And another thing too, he brings up a great point. If you're going to use a generic letter on the email when you send it, at least get the coach's name right. I can think how many times you get that email, Coach Jones, I love what you're doing at St. Aug. Huh? Yeah, come on, man. At least proofread it. But he's right, though. When you send, we got one today. He probably got it, too. And it's got everybody in the CIAA listed and telling us, I'm very interested in your school. Well, if I see, hey, which one? There's 8 of us listed on there. I'm with Coach, man. Take a little bit more time. Make it personal.
Cool. That's a nugget. All right, we're going to go into our next drop, man. So that was the first down. We're going to go into second down right now. So let's roll up with our sponsor.
Second down brought to you by Camp Gladiator, changing fitness, changing lives with both outdoor and virtual camps. Become a trainer now. And if you're interested, reach out to D Block on Instagram and Facebook.
So D Block is my mom. For those that don't know, she's probably watching. She's a personal trainer for Camp Gladiator. So if you are interested, she was the first person to comment. Go ahead and hit her little picture there. It'll take you to her link. She's also looking for personal trainers as well. She is her own franchise now of Camp Gladiator. So if you're looking for a job and you're one of those trainers we was just talking about, hit her up. All right. So my second down and where I want to go to with this one is more so on what we're seeing now. Should Black athletes attend HBCUs exclusively? Should we have more of a push from our more top tier guys coming to HBCUs? What's your opinion on it? I'll start with you, Coach Bowser.
Well, I'm going to say this first. Personally, I want the top tiers to come to St. Aug. So that right there off rip. They need to come on. Them 5 stars need to come down here and let's do something. But what I think is important right now as we go through the social unrest that we've been dealing with, that the kids have to start evaluating what they're looking for outside of just the bells and whistles of weight rooms and stadiums and slides and all that stuff. That stuff is great. But at the end of the day, you need to have somebody that's willing to be with you, walk you through this, hold you accountable, and help you grow as an individual. Because everybody's not going to play on Sundays, but everybody can become a better person. And I think that what you got to ask yourself is the person sitting across from me going to help make me a better person and give me an opportunity to excel after I'm done playing college football? Coach
Jones, what you think?
I say I agree with Coach, but I say why not? Why not HBCU? You know, I don't like to toot my own horn, but at the end of the day, when I played high school football, I was probably one of the better football players in the state of North Carolina. I didn't do what I was supposed to do in the classroom, so that led me to North Carolina Central. And I wouldn't change a thing that happened. You know, God put that there for me to experience that. And the one thing I can say about an HBCU is that we know that these young men are going to make mistakes. Yep. And at the end of the day, we're that father figure, we're that uncle that's going to pat them on the back and tell them not to do it again. And we're going to lead them in the right direction. And we're going to make them better men when they walk off that campus. Yes, we want to win football games, but not only want to win football games, we want to build young men that are going to graduate. And the one thing I can say about the HBCU, that it prepared me for the real world. I had a lot of friends that went to the big schools, and when they graduated, they couldn't pay a bill. They couldn't handle a lot of stuff that, you know, that I learned. You know, it was a couple of times I was on full scholarship and I had to go to financial aid. They said I owed money. So I had to go in the line and get that adjusted, where you're at this PWI, they handle all that for you. And then when you walk off that campus, you have no way of learning, you know, real life skills. So I say, why not? I mean, I'm not knocking anybody for going there, but I do encourage families to take a look at the HBCUs, go and visit these schools and see what they're about. Don't listen to what people are telling you. You go see it for yourself. I would not be at Shaw University right now if it was for my mom. My mom didn't want me to take the job, but I said, Mom, did you do your research? Why you don't want me to take that job? Right. Let me find out whether I need to take that job or not. And if I, like I said, if I listen to my mom, I'll probably still be at North Carolina Central right now.
There you go. That's it. That's it.
With y'all saying that, Shaw had there was an article in the Atlantic that had mentioned it's time for Black athletes to leave white colleges. And there was a transfer from Oklahoma that came to Shaw University, Davon Dillard. And one of the things that he spoke to, which I want you guys to touch on, which you kind of already did, he said, going to a school where most of the people are the same color as you, it's almost like you can let your guard down a little bit. You don't have to pretend to be somebody else. You don't have to dress a certain way. You don't even have to talk a certain way. You could just be you. We have the same kind of struggles, and even the administration can relate. It's almost like you're back home in the neighborhood. So being that you guys are on campus all the time, talk about like the campus setting and how that, you know, relates to just being comfortable enough to excelling in the classroom and socially and emotionally, because a big piece of college, a lot of people drop out because they can't adapt because the environment just isn't right. So can you talk about how the social emotional side is a little bit easier when you're around, you know, HBCU campus?
Well, I can start on that. The classroom size, you know, our biggest class is probably maybe 25 kids. I think biology is our biggest program on campus. And you're not just a social security number. You actually, they know you by name. You know, this spring actually had a young professor come to the weight room and was worried about one of our kids because he didn't come to class. And she was concerned, and she wasn't telling on the kid, but she showed that care. Where you at a bigger school, you, like you said, you get lost in the sauce and, you know, you don't understand what happened. But at these HBCUs or these smaller universities, you have some friendship. You have them father figures, those mother figures, the aunts, cousins, you name it. And I just think that really helps out with our guys' growth and getting out into the real world.
And the thing is, as Coach is talking about, the one thing that I've loved about my experience in the last 22 years is, number one, when you can go and have a relationship with your president, that she understands what these kids' needs are. When the police chief is asking you about helping in some capacity with study hall or speaking to the kids on a mentor level on the front end, when you can walk into a building, the library, and everybody know each other, those things you just can't put a price tag on that. And so what I've come to figure out is at this level and opportunities of being at the HBCU is that if these kids would just understand that you want somebody that's going to guide you along the way, not do it for you, but guide you along the way, because your experience in college should prepare you for challenges. it shouldn't give you a false sense of security, because once you're responsible for a family and you're responsible for kids, you're the one that's got to get up and answer that bell. It's not going to be somebody coming over there and pulling you and grabbing you by your hand. It's going to be somebody that wants to guide you and want to show you, hey, this is how you got to do it. And sometimes you're going to skin your knee, but guess what? We're going to get up, put a Band-Aid on it, and keep moving forward. So I think that's what they need to understand. Get somebody to guide you, not do it for you.
Now, I got a question, because Coach Lavelle Moulton, who has a huge amount of success over at Central, he has that 30 for 30 coming out, which is going to be huge. I think is another huge piece for HBCUs. He spoke to something as well. He said, I have a hard time saying this as the head coach of North Carolina Central and an HBCU grad myself, but Black people, I love us, but everyone else understands that we're the culture except for us. Our audience and our money are going somewhere else, but we're the product. We don't understand that we have to be ourselves and keep our product in to keep our money generating our HBCUs in better condition. So if you guys can speak to that, because everybody says, well, the facilities are this or that, or they don't compare to this or they don't compare to that, but a lot of people don't understand there's the financial piece to this whole thing too. And players coming to HBCUs that people want to see help that product and help that promotion to, get those top dollars over there and get those TV contracts and all that. So if you guys could speak to that, just the part where he's saying, we're the culture and, the audience and money is going wherever we're going. If you guys could speak to that too. I'll start with you, Coach Jones.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, Coach Lavelle. I mean, hit that on the head. I listened to that little snippet, and just think about it, man. If these guys come to our universities, how the landscape would change. I mean, you absolutely talking about we don't have to go out and beg for money. I mean, the money's going to be there. You talking about 3-star, 4-star athletes coming to Shaw University, St. Aug, North Carolina Central University. You go back into the 70s when my dad played at North Carolina Central, and you just look at the stadium. They played A&T at Duke. And there was no room to sit. I mean, you just think, and those guys back in the 70s, and you look at the NFL, those guys in the Hall of Fame are guys from HBCU. So I just think that the parents need to go back and tell our kids the history and the importance of HBCUs. Not saying that we're going to change the landscape and make every Black athlete go to a predominantly Black school, but if we level out the playing field, now those ESPNs, ESPN2s are going to come on our campus, and that's where the money it changes up, and we won't have to force our alum to come out of their pocket so much.
Coach Bowser?
Because as Coach was just saying, the biggest thing is, and with Coach Moulton, what I love about it is he gets an opportunity to put things out there that people have to realistically think about it, and he can say it because he's proven that he's successful, not only in
Coach. Hold on, Coach. You done broke up. You done got too excited. You done hit the cord on
it there.
Hold on, we back. All right, you back. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he does. I mean, he does great things. Coach Moulton does, and he has the flexibility to put things out there that people got to think about. Now, what I would love for parents to do is sit down with your child and have them take the experience of going to visit an HBCU campus. Even if you got 4 or 5 other schools, go visit one, sit down, and see what it's like and what your opportunity is. Don't assume or listen to what your counselors and folks are saying. Just know that you have the opportunity. That's what you got to give it a chance. Give it a chance. And you tell Pope, man, no Teddy Riley.
I couldn't hold that one in, boy.
Yeah, man.
Hey man, I was wondering what was going on myself. I wasn't going to clown you, but Pope had to say it, man.
Yeah, got that Teddy Riley Wi-Fi. Come on, baby.
So now let me ask you this, because my last question in this with the HBCUs and should our Black athletes come over and not come over? When we talk about the finances and with recruiting and things like that, because that's a big piece as far as money, in-state, out-of-state, things like that. what else can parents understand about if a coach is putting together a package? When I try to explain a package, they look at me like I'm crazy because it don't say full scholarship, this amount of money. So could you please explain how packages work where you guys may meet their need and there's zero balance, but because they don't see that all coming from football, they don't believe that, it's the same equivalent as having a full scholarship?
Well, I'll start with this one, and you've heard me say it because I've recruited and signed your kids at 2 places. I believe point blank, zero balance. I'm not trying to help you do all this other stuff that you want, shoes, clothes, all of that. My main objective is to make sure that once your financial aid is put in there, we see what your needs are. We want to zero you out and do the best that we can as far as making sure that you're comfortable and that you get the things that you need, somewhere to lay your head, a good education, to make sure that you're eating and that you're getting the social opportunity on campus. Those are the core things that we offer, and it just happens to be based on need, based on your academics, and we try to bundle the best package together for you.
Coach Jones?
Sort of saying what Coach Biles is saying, but I even break it down to a little bit better for the parents to understand. Division II schools don't give full scholarships out.
There you go.
At the end of the day, it's not Division I where you get a full scholarship and there's a possible refund or whatever. If you get a refund, that's great. So I'm gonna break it down: $25,000 roughly to go to Shaw University. If you get a $5,000 from FAFSA, we're gonna give you $20,000 to zero you out, like Coach said. So I just let people know that when we break it down, that Division II football is, you don't get a full scholarship at the end of the day. We will zero you out, but at the end of the day, I like to explain it to them because sometimes they go somewhere else and they make them think that it's another way. So Division II ball, there's a possibility you will get a refund, but I can't guarantee that. And like Coach said, we look at the numbers, see what you're getting back FAFSA, and if we give you a full scholarship, we are trying to zero you out. We make sure that we get those numbers and it's correct, and then you'll know that once you sign on the dotted line.
Yep.
Sounds good. All right, we're gonna move into our third piece. So let's roll our third sponsor for the day. Third Down.
Third Down brought to you by Key Essentials, specialty care for your textured hair.
So Key Essentials, natural hair care stylist. You can hit her up and make sure she's on Instagram as Key Essentials and Facebook as Key Essentials. So go ahead and hit her up. If you are a natural, you need those braids done or hair retwisted, all the natural stuff you need, hit her up. So my question is real simple. How do Black coaches advance? Like right now, we're having a huge conversation about not seeing us as head coaches in the NFL. And I mean, you guys both know it's not the easiest route to get where you guys are at and sit in that seat. Even myself being a high school head coach, it wasn't the easiest. Even becoming a college coach, it was, I had to do some things that a lot of people probably would be like, what? You know what I mean? I had to learn how to just do film and only film before I got my opportunity for a while. So how do we advance and, can we break through to where seeing our face in head coaching positions is a more regular thing?
I'm going to let Coach Jones start with this one.
Okay. I was gonna let you go first, but I'll go first. I'm gonna speak on myself. The number one thing is you got to sell yourself at the end of the day. A good friend of mine, Coach Jerry Mack, Rob Broadway, Coach Washington. Those guys, I learned a lot. And, I was a running back coach at North Carolina Central when I got the head coaching job at Shaw University. And everybody was like, how did you do that? Well, one thing you got to find out who know who,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta do your work. Your resume needs to look good. If your wife writes well, which mine does, she did a good job with my resume. You got to sit down, you got to grind. It's no different than you telling an athlete to work on their craft. You got to work on your craft, and you got to be able to speak. You can't be scared to talk to those PWI coaches. My staff is very young, and we used to go to the coaching clinics and stuff. And they're like, Coach, how you know all these guys? I said, man, you can't be scared to talk to a Nick Saban because you got to be able to work a room. It's hard for us, but at the end of the day, you just got to navigate, man. You just got to work hard and you just got to prepare. And I'm a big person. I speak things in existence. You know, Shaw University gave me a chance to be a head coach, but I always tell my kids, it's not my last stop. I want to coach on a bigger stage. If I don't, that's fine, but I'm not going to settle for less at the end of the day. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. And I'm going to be that leader and show my kids how to navigate, you know, being a black man, you know, in this time. And they're not giving us chances to coach. You know, I say this all the time. You take Coach Bowser, you take Coach Jones, you take Coach Oliver, all these coaches that are at these HBCUs, and you put them at the University of Alabama and Florida States and all those things, and make them the head coach with the stuff we have to do as a HBCU head coach. I mean, we'll run circles around those guys because we don't have to worry about doing the laundry. We don't have to worry about lining the field. We don't have to worry about going to make sure that kid is in class. There's a lot of stuff that people don't realize that we do behind closed doors that some people won't do. And yes, I do line the field. Yes, I do wash the clothes, because what I don't want my coaches to do is not be coaches on the football field. I'm the head coach. I'm the general. But at the end of the day, to make sure my coaches are doing what they're supposed to do, X and O wise, I try to limit them from doing any kind of hard work. Is like lining the field and stuff. And then when your kids see you doing those things behind closed doors, they're gonna run through that brick wall for you. So I just say that. I mean, I'm selling myself right now. If I was at one of those universities, I tell you right now, I'll probably be one of the best coaches in the nation. But at the end of the day, it's not like that. But I'm thankful for where I'm at.
Right, Coach. I got to agree with you, Coach, because I used to say it when I was at Shaw. I said, man, NC State is in walking distance from where we at, but I'll be damned if I don't work harder than the running back coach that's over there. Because like you said, Coach Massey, he looking for them jerseys to be clean after we get off that bus, and you ain't got a whole staff of people that's just washing jerseys for you. Like, you know what I mean? You got to get that stuff done, and a lot of people don't understand or appreciate that work ethic because they don't see it. You know what I mean? But you know, I agree with you 100%. Coach Bowser, go ahead, chime in.
Well, two things I'll say real quick is one, and this is Coach Jones' path and my path. We both spent extensive time in high school. And so the things he's talking about, doing the laundry, lining the field, teaching classes, if you've done that.
Uh-oh.
Come over here. You already know. You know, I tell people, I had a kid come in one day. He had transferred from a Power 5 school when I was at my other institution. And he walked in. He said, I need to meet with the academic person. I said, okay, do me a favor. Walk out that door, come back to the door and knock on it. And he knocked on my door again. And I said, hey, now you've met the academic guy. How can I help you? Because as Coach Jones is saying, we have to do so many things, man. Who's running study hall? Coach Jones and his guys, myself and our guys, we running study hall. Who's doing breakfast check? We doing breakfast check. You know, so people have to understand that if we had some things taken off our plate, I agree with them 100%. People would be amazed, and I still believe that at the end of the day, and Coach Jones will agree, you still can't replace that core hard work. When the kids see you out there putting in just as much as we're asking them to put in, it's an appreciation that they have because they know we're going the extra mile for them to make sure that they have every opportunity to be successful in life and on that field.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the part that I think a lot of people don't understand is, and maybe you guys can talk on it. I'll just give my experience and testimony. And I've worked for white coaches and I've worked for black coaches, head coaches. The responsibility that I have seen on African-American coaches has been far more than just coach, because we are looked at as an automatic mentor, an automatic father figure, and automatic. We have to be the problem solver. And a lot of times you get parents that turn their child over to us, and literally we may even turn into dad. So I'll let y'all speak on that too as the experience, because it's not. And I'm not saying that, you know, our white counterparts does not experience that, but there's just an expectation of a black player to a black coach that when they see us, we automatically got a whole list of responsibilities that's not even football. So I'll let y'all talk about that.
I'll start on that one because I want to talk about, so everybody, not too many people know about Shaw University. Well, Shaw University, we practice at Chavis Park. That is our practice field. And last year, 2020 class, we had a group of guys coming. I'm not going to say the names of other schools, but they were very great Division II schools that were recruiting to these kids. And I always my pitch is always, we don't have a lot of bells and whistles, but at the end of the day, you're going to get a good brand of football. You're going to get a great group of coaches that really, truly care about you, not just the football player, but the person. And at the end of it, the parent stood up and said, "Coach, I got something to say to you." And I was like, "Yes, ma'am. What you got?" She was like, she pointed at every coach in that room. She said, "Y'all are the bells and whistles. You know, every football field is 100 yards long. You know, that hasn't changed since the football has been in existence." And that made me feel so good. She said, "We're not looking for the shoes, the Under Armour jerseys and all that stuff. We want to make sure that our kid is taken care of. And in 4 years, he graduates and he's a better young man than he was when he stepped on campus." So at the end of the day, when they said that, I preached that. Our coaching staff is the bells and whistles. We don't have to have all the glitz and glamour. At the end of the day, the glitz and glamour is the coaching staff that we have at Shaw University.
That's
Coach
it.
Bowski.
And man, I tell you, it's just you like-mindedness. I mean, we know at the end of the day that when these kids make it, and you've been in this long enough, and you see kids being able to excel when people didn't think they could excel, that's where you win at. And you still teach them to be competitive. You teach them how to fight. And we talked about this before. If you think about the greatest NFL players at certain positions, as they're ranked, they came from HBCUs because like Coach Jones said, they didn't have the bells and whistles. So when they get to the league, they're so grateful to have that opportunity. They're not going to blow it. They're going to work. Jerry Rice will tell you how he had to work. Walter Payton, I can remember being a kid watching him run up that hill, training. And, you know, those guys understood, man. You look at, like I said, Shannon Sharp. That brother's body right now look like he could lie down if he had to, because all he knows is hard work. Yeah. And you appreciate that. So what I love about these kids that we get, they all tell you in a heartbeat, ain't nobody ever gave me nothing. I don't expect nothing, but I'm going to go out here and do my best to succeed. And I'll take guys like that all day, every day. Prima donnas are hard to deal with in the game of football. You need guys who just want to get in there and do that trench war, man. That's what you're going to appreciate.
Now, with you saying that's going to take me into my next segment, the fourth down. So our final down. So Kimberly, let's get our fourth down sponsor.
Fourth down brought to you by the Divas Den. Make some tea, grab your mug, have a seat, and join the conversation with SoFab Kim every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
So shameless plug, that's my sister who's running the boards behind. So what you see behind everything is my sister. As you can see, it's a family affair here. I got my mom, I got my sister, and I'll be honest, Key Essential, that's my wife. So it's a family affair here, baby. Like, I got to look out for my people too. We got to look out for our own. So if we got that platform, you should use it to look out for your own people. So she has a podcast as well. So a lot of what you see me doing and learning comes from her. She went to school for all that. So all this changing my graphics up and all that stuff, she's the one helping me and teaching me and all that. So she's running my board. So it looked like I know what I'm doing. She's the one behind it. We just talking. She's the one making everything work. So thank you very much to the producer, Kim Blocker. My last question, man, because you got a lot of high school students who are worried about it. You got a lot of parents who are worried about it, is this transfer portal, because they're being told that the transfer portal guys eating up all the scholarships, and they're getting all the money because you'd rather have a guy who knows what's going on the college ranks versus a guy who's coming in fresh. And I keep telling kids, keep your head up because the recruiting is still going on. And I see a lot of high school kids getting offers because everything in the transfer portal ain't a diamond, period. Like some things in the transfer portal, they there for some reasons that coaches don't want to deal with. So you guys tell me about it. For the parents who don't know what the transfer portal is, to make a long story short, it's just kids who have decided that they want to play at another school, so they put themselves into this portal to be basically re-recruited again. And so you can get into this portal. Coaches can get the opportunity to recruit you and bring you to another school. That's just the layman's term. It's real simplistic, but in a nutshell, that's what we're talking about. So, coaches, tell me what your thought is on the transfer portal. Are you using the transfer portal? Is it stagnating some of our guys, our high school guys? Tell me.
Well, I'll start off with this one, and I'm going to say this first. If I'm looking at a transfer, I usually want somebody I've got a previous relationship with, that I might have seen them when they were in high school, or their coach, their high school coach and I have a great relationship, or the institution that they're leaving, I may have a great relationship with somebody on that staff. The next thing is, I prefer guys, if they're in the transfer portal or they're a transfer, I want them to have at least 3 or 4 years left. It's always hard for me to figure out how you jail a kid with 1 or 2 years left, because most kids have got 1 year left. They're trying to get to the league. They think they're going to go to the league. So they're coming in with a little bit of a different mindset. But a kid that's got 3 or 4 years, they're pretty much vested. Now, what has really happened, Coach, to me with the transfer portal is more so of the correlation with COVID, because a lot of kids could come back. Because if you look at it, some kids are leaving from Power Fives, going to other Power Fives, just because of the fact that they could come back to where they are, but there's a possibility they may lose their starting job because the guy behind them is pushing them, and the coaches probably thought that guy was going to be gone, but with getting that year back, they're coming back, so some of them are jumping in the portal. I still say that high school kids are going to be fine. The transfer portal right now is the shiny new toy, but once you vet and do more of your research on the individuals, I think at the end of the day, coaches in Division II, we're going to go back to what's tried and true, and that's the relationships that you build. Schools that people are looking for.
Coach, you keep going. Hey, man, you got that Teddy Riley with that last piece, big coming through, baby.
Hey, we good, baby. But yeah, but that's it though. I think the transfer portal is just it's a phase. It's going to be something, and it's more correlation with COVID. That's what I think it is right now. Because kids are just bound.
I do agree that COVID is a big piece of why the transfer portal is so popular right now. Coach Jones, what you think?
I agree with Coach Bowser. I'm not a big fan of transfer portal. When I use the transfer portal, it's like Coach Bowser said, I have built a relationship with that kid. I saw him in high school, and we probably recruited him, and he went to a bigger school, and we had the relationship, and he reaches out to me. I technically don't look at the transfer portal like that. I mean, like I said, there's some guys that I know that have left schools that I built relationships with. I will go and recruit them. But at the end of the day, like Coach Bowser said, if they don't have 2 to 3 years, it's kind of tough bringing a guy in that got 1 year. I'd much rather bring in that freshman that I can mold and have 4 years than have a guy that's already set in his ways. He's trying to go to the NFL, not knocking that he's trying to go to the NFL, but I might coach a different way, and he might be stuck in his way that's the right way. So I'm not a big fan of the transfer portal. I tell the kids, like, we're still recruiting freshmen. Now, it might be somebody in the transfer portal that falls in my lap that, like I said, I had a relationship with, and I will recruit that kid, but we're recruiting freshmen, man. We will go to junior college route and get some old linemen also, but how we do it, we get those old linemen, them older guys, and we still bring in some freshmen. So when that older guy walks out the door, that freshman still got 3 years if we redshirt him. So it's a numbers game with me. I like to play with the numbers and make sure that we got the right amount of depth. So Shaw University, we're not really all up in that transfer portal right now.
Yeah.
So I know one thing that is big, and I do know that there's something that you guys are in, is paying attention to these young men's social media. And I don't know if you guys got a glimpse of the one guy who made the post from California. If we can put that clip up real quick. I don't know, where he says 0 offers, 0 looks, 0 commitment, 0 time on campus, 0 homecoming, 0 prom, 0 traditional graduation. What a wasted final year. Worked hard and dedicated for absolutely 0. So as a coach, I looked at that, and the first thing I thought was, why would he post that? You know what I mean? Because I understand the frustration, but the zero commitment and the zero, it seemed a bit entitled to me, as if you were supposed to get that. Now, I went and did my research and found out there were kids from his school who were recruited, who got offers. You know what I mean? So when you see something like that, or even just on the social media tip, how does that impact your recruiting a young man?
Well, first, I want to tell a kid this: what Coach Jones might be looking for in 21 may not be what I'm looking for. And if a coach doesn't have a need for a certain position, I'm not just going to go get somebody just because we're working on a different kind of budget. So I'm going to work based on my needs. And you got to understand, but this year you're not talking to me.
Uh-oh. You breaking up, Coach? Hold on, Coach. You breaking up. Hold on.
Oh, if this year is the year, or you might have the wrong time. Did it come back? But I tell kids, you can't predict when you come out and what you're looking for. And it's as simple as that. So you can't get frustrated. And like Coach Jones said early on in the show, now you got to go make something happen. Don't complain about it on social media. Now you got to work your plan. How do you adjust? How do you bounce back? That's what I look at. How are you going to fight through this? Because football is about adversity, point blank.
I'll piggyback on that, and I'll say there's nothing wrong with a preferred walk-on. See, guys look for that scholarship at the end of the day. And my thing is, if you love the game of football like you claim you do, you'll come in and earn a scholarship. If you feel like you're that good, we have a young man that committed to us that was a darn good football player. But at the end of the day, at that position, we didn't need that position. But he came and visited our campus. We treated that kid just like he was a scholarship guy. And when he left, he committed to Shaw University. And going back and look at his film, that kid is going to earn money. As soon as we get some of those guys out the door, one thing about Shaw is that I'm going to speak on wide receivers. We got a nice wide receiver group. But when those guys walk out the door and there's a walk-on in the building, I'm gonna show that kid love and give him some money before I go out and spend that money if he's worthy of that. So I tell kids right now, if you really love the game and you're looking for a dollar amount and you don't get that dollar amount, go earn it. Go to school and take what's yours if you really believe in yourself.
That's it. Hey, it's funny that college athletics is the only place where you get paid before you start working. Not one of us picked up a paycheck when we started the jobs that we had. We had to put time in, and then the crazy thing is they put you on probation for 90 days. You're on probation for 90 days.
Yeah.
So when you look at how this works, basically you're investing a kid, and then you wonder if you're getting back what you put into them, and it's always in the back of your mind what they say: to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with the
we checked that high. No, you good, bro. Go ahead.
And the thing is that, like, people don't realize. I'll bring up a young man that has left our program, Daniel Bender. He was a wide receiver for us. When Daniel Bender from Jacksonville, Florida, Daniel Bender came to our school and was a walk-on. After the first year, Daniel Bender got $4,000. After his sophomore year, he was the leading receiver in the CIAA. I gave him a full scholarship. Daniel Bender graduated last year. He is at Western Illinois and went to a D1 school. He got his degree. He felt like he was a D1 football player, and he's on that team right now. So at the end of the day, the sky's the limit for you. I like walk-ons because that builds you got more players on your team. Now you got a scout team guy that's pretty good. That scout team guy is going against the number one offensive player, the number one defensive player, and that's the best way of getting better. So I always push. There's nothing wrong with walking onto a football team. People get it messed up that they think Division II football is not good, a good brand of football.
Yeah.
Excuse my French. It's a hell of a lot of good football players in Division II football. Prime example: a lot of Division I players that are whatever you say, a 4-star, 5-star, have come to the division HBCUs, Division II, where there's Division I, and thought they was gonna come in and start. And didn't win a starting position because that guy that was been there was way better than he was.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, there was a question earlier that I didn't get to, and I thought it was a very good question about film. It was earlier, so I don't even think they ain't worth trying to dig it back and find it. But the question leaded to: do you guys prefer highlight tapes, or do you need to see a game? Because that's that. Yeah, okay. So, do you prefer highlight tapes or full games for your player evaluations?
I do both. Do both. The highlight film intrigues me. Then I go back and I watch game film because I want to see what you're doing when the ball ain't going your way. If you're a defensive back and that ball is not thrown to you and it's a catch, are you there gonna get in that angle and trying to get deep and save from getting a touchdown? The little things I'm trying to see, offensive linemen, what they're doing when that ball is not run to their side. So that's where you try to find what type of player it is. Because of course, a highlight film is your best player. So the highlight film catches our eye, but then I want to go back and watch some game film as well.
And the thing that I like to do is if you see a kid that sends you a highlight film and they play somebody that's pretty good, that's in their area, I'll watch somebody on their film and see how they might have matched up. If it's a DN and somebody's got a pretty good tackle, then I'm going to go watch and see on that guy's film, well, what'd you do against this tackle that's supposed to be pretty good? Mm-hmm. And if a kid's from down east and they go both ways, they're playing offense and defense, I grade them a little different because they got to pace themselves to get through a game sometimes. Now, when I look at a kid who's only going one way, I'm like, Coach, man, you better be full tilt, giving it every play. Even if you got to run something down from the backside, if you coasting and jogging and doing, I'm gonna notice that when I'm watching other spots. So yeah, you want to see game film because, like you said, or if I'm really curious about you, if I get to see you live, I'm really gonna watch and see everything that you do. I get there early, and I'm gonna watch how you respond to your teammates, how your intensity level is in pregame. Because some guys, man, it's all hype. They'll put those 8-9 plays on there and catch your eye. But then when you get out there and bust a grape, man, you couldn't throw them on a pile if you watched them long enough. So that's what I'm looking for. So I'm like, Coach, man, I need to see a little bit of both. The highlights might catch my eye, but I want to see that game film, how you do throughout and what you're doing at the end of the game as well.
Cool. Now, before we get out of here, guys, just what's up with Shaw and St. Aug during this COVID time and spring coming up? And then it's up to you guys, but how do you want parents? I have some people asking, how do we get film and things like that to you? So if you got a recruiting coach that you prefer that to go to other than y'all, but we'll start with first with COVID and spring ball. How's that going for you guys? Because I know it's different for everybody. So how does that work for St. Aug and Shaw?
I'll go with Coach first because he's a little bit ahead of me.
You want me to go first, Coach?
Yeah, you go first. You ahead of me on this one. You got it rolling right now.
Hey, we rocking and rolling, man.
Yeah.
We kind of got this thing figured out. Guys in the weight room working hard. We're in the conditioning period. Starting next week, we'll start doing a little bit of practice. My biggest thing is, we got all spring, and I don't want to rush it. I want to make sure our guys get in shape, bigger, faster, stronger. Learn the verbiage that we're preaching, making sure our coaches getting back to coaching the way they supposed to coach. But the guys are really the one thing about the COVID really for our guys is they really got to realize how important football was to them, and they have a newfound respect of the game. And it's like now, and when I go in the weight room, I used to have to go in the weight room and mark off guys who were in there. Man, these guys are holding each other accountable. I mean, they're getting in guys' butts when they are late. You 1 minute late, you can't come in the weight room. You got to go to the next session. We had a young man to come in there and had his earphones in and he was in class and he was trying to lift weights. Devin Hunt told him, no, you can't come in here right now. Go get your classwork done. Then you come back in the weight room. So it's been awesome to see how our kids have grown up. Like I said, we got some older guys in our program, but I'm looking forward to getting after it and seeing, how these guys are going to respond once we start putting that ball in the air and, putting those pads on.
Yeah. And with us, because we got back a little bit later, so we came back really the first week in February, and now we're getting everybody cleared. We'll start in the weight room, go through winter workouts, and I'm a guy that likes to do spring practice in the winter, get that thing going in February. But we're probably, like Coach Jones said, we'll start probably the middle of March and try to finish up in the middle of April and then get back in the weight room before we send them home. But the biggest thing with our guys has been the guys that got here last year when I first got here and we came in together, they've done an outstanding job of taking the lead on things. And we brought in a good group last year, but I'm just saying that, like Coach said, there's no need to rush right now, because you can take this time and develop. We're going to stretch out spring ball. There used to be a time when I worked for Kenny Phillips, man, we'd go 15 straight days if we could because he wanted to get in and get out. But we're going to utilize the 36 days that you get in that window, and then we're going to get the guys out there finishing up in April, still lifting and running. So this is a great opportunity. I'm like, Coach, man, if being away from football didn't reboot you and make you hungry, you don't have a pulse, man, because it seems like it's been forever since I've seen a football, man. It just seemed like it's been forever. Yeah. And I'm excited. I'm just glad to see how this thing rolls. And I want to say this before we go, and I mean this, and Coach Jones and I talk. If you're out there and you still looking, I tell you right now, you start with St. Aug, then you look in Shaw, because what I want our rivalry to be like this, where people say that the two best schools in the CIAA and Division II are in the same county. And I have no problem with that. I tell them, and we've talked about it, I said, Coach, it only makes us better when we're at our highest level. And I want to encourage kids. I tell them, hey, man, if you're going to go to the CIAA, make our league what it can be. And I have no problem with that. I want to compete against the best that Winston-Salem got, the best that Fayetteville State got, the best that Shaw has, and the best that Livingstone and Smith and other guys up north. And Coach Jones wants the same thing, man, because, hey, we've had some battles, man, and he'll tell you. And after the game, hey, you can't do nothing. It's respect, man, whether it be a field goal, the monsoon. We've had some great battles. So now I really look forward to that. And I think people need to understand CIAA plays great football.
Yes.
Come find out. Yes, understand that. We play great football.
Yes, they do. So let me ask you this, man. How do we get in contact with you, or how do you want the kids to send in film, or parents to send in film that's watching? Because we've had so far almost 30, 40 people watching this thing total. So I know somebody's going to be starting to send y'all some film. So how do we get to you?
I want to leave a nugget before I go. It's been on my mind. It's a couple places I've been, a couple kids. I'm real big on loyalty. And I want to go back to the high school ranks. Young men, when you commit to a school, just because it's not going your way, or you don't have the best coaches, or you don't like that coach, don't up and just leave that program because of little things. Because it's one thing I'm going to do is that coach that you left, I'm going to ask about your character. And at the end of the day, I'm very stickler on being loyal. Now, if you move out of the district and you go to another school, that's fine. But the days need to be over with you guys leaving because you don't like something. Stay there, work hard, and like, I don't like some of the things at Shaw University, but I'm not up and leaving. I'm working hard to change those things. So just make sure that you make good decisions, because we're looking at those little things. Always. The way you can get in contact with us, you can email me. I am very busy, but I would say the best way to do it is contact Torian, Coach Torian Hester. You go to our website, our football website. He's our recruiting coordinator, wide receiver coach. You can send all that film to him, and what he'll do is, if it's an offensive lineman, he'll send it to the offensive line coach. If you send it to me, I'll do the same thing, and I'll let my coaches evaluate it, and then we'll come to the table and say, hey, this is the kid that we want. But, it's nothing wrong with sending it to me, but it might take a little bit longer if you send it to me. Because like I said, I told you earlier, I wash clothes, I line fields. I got a whole lot of hats that I wear now. So, but just go online. You can send it to any of the coaches, but the main coaches send it to Torian Hester, wide receiver coach, recruiting coordinator.
Coach Bowser? Yes,
sir. Go on our website, dbowser@st-aug.edu, and we'll get it rolling. Hey, man. Just kids, listen to what he said, man. Find a way to fight through where you are. Find a way to fight through where you are, because at some point when you're responsible for your family, you're going to have to stick it out. You need to stick it out is what I should say, because every day not going to be a sunny day. And when you get a career, and these times, walking job, get mad, quit, and then think the next day you're going to find a job. Okay, you better go ask them 70 million people out here right now that's looking for a job. So
Yeah.
you gotta learn. You gotta learn to fight through things. I'm glad Coach said that, man, because I won't touch a kid. I'll be honest with you. If they've been to more than 2 or 3 high schools, and it's not because they had to move or they're military, it's hard for me to want to take that kid. Because what that tells me is when it gets tough here, I'm probably not gonna see you. You probably gonna be
You're gonna
gone.
leave.
Yeah, they're gonna leave and won't even come tell you you're leaving. Just gonna pack
Yeah.
up and disappear.
Yeah.
What's up, Coach Gray? I see you down there, man. Coach Gray, what's up, y'all? So I thank y'all for y'all time. We got to do this again because there's a lot of questions I got, but I don't want to hold y'all as long as a movie. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
But I do want to make sure we come back at this maybe after spring is over and when everybody get ready to leave out, just to hear where y'all heads are at going into the summertime. So if I can get y'all back again, and that would be awesome, man. I really would apprionate that.
Definitely.
Absolutely,
Keep up
man.
the great
Thanks,
work,
Coach
bro.
Block, for having me on, man.
Definitely.
No problem.
Yeah,
No
definitely,
problem.
man.
Good stuff.
Thanks, man. Once again, I know some HBCU coaches hit me up in my inbox and say, "Why you picked them first?" Hey, man, because I live down the street. That's why.
Hey, tell
It
them
ain't
to stop
That's
hating,
it.
man.
That's it, man. It'll be all right.
I literally live in between both schools. I ain't even joking. I live between both schools. So that's why we started with them. So I'm gonna make my rounds to make sure everybody is visible, because I do believe personally that we need to give HBCUs more of our attention. When it comes down to schools, for me, you need to go where you feel the most comfortable, but that also means you shouldn't just cut people at the knees before you give them a chance, because these two men right here, they'll probably take care of you better than anybody else that you know of. It's maybe even better than some people in your family. So once again, my slogan is, guys, don't compare, compete. Don't be out here looking at everybody else's social media and their life and their journey. Pay attention to yours and go get what you're supposed to. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in to First and Goal, and I will catch y'all next week. Thanks.
All right, fellas. Thank you, bro.
All right.